Hello and welcome everyone to Hope Canada by Moksha Canada. This is the live, inclusive, and resilient music art series. I'm your host every Sunday, Carlo Bianchini, and today I'm joined by a singer-songwriter, Chad Beloin.
What's happening? Good to meet you.
Am I saying that correct? I just want to make sure I'm saying that
You're
correct.
saying that absolutely correct.
Okay, very good. I just got to check.
No worries.
I'm super excited to be here today. Thank you to Moksha Canada Foundation for providing us with this opportunity to interview and just talk with local artists. I think it's a really great initiative that's happening here, and I'm really grateful to be a part of it. So why don't we get into it? Let's just chat. So let's talk a little bit about kind of where you're at with the musical journey right now. Like, how did you know you wanted to kind of start getting into the music scene, and how did you start singing? Like, where did you begin?
So that's got a few different answers, but I'll give you like the cliff notes.
No, that's great.
I mean, I always joke that I think that I've been singing since before I could even talk.
Yeah.
And I really do believe that that's true, because I mean, my entire life, from 2, 3, 4 years old, I always had these toys with like microphones, and I would do little shows at home for my mom. And I always loved it, right? I had these Backstreet Boys VHSs back in the day, and I would mimic all the dance moves, mimic all the notes, that little hand waves and all of that. And that was kind of when the bug first hit me. It was just hearing that energy on the TV. And then I was doing lessons for guitar when I got into like elementary school, and obviously you get recitals and things like that, and I loved it. Right, I felt that reception. I was like, okay,
the performing aspect of it all, right? Like
just
being on stage,
and seeing people being interactive, right?
Their reactions to it, for sure,
and the joy, right? You can't beat that atmosphere, and that was really what solidified it. So by the time I turned 12, I started teaching myself how to record music. I had like a little cheap synthesizer, and I found a way. I don't know if you remember Windows like 98.
Yeah.
So we had a Windows 98 computer, and I actually found a way to hack the sound recorder software to make it record longer than it was supposed to. And that's how I would record music.
Wow.
And I kept at it. I think I released, with that method, I released like 2 different mixtapes through whatever we had on the internet back then, which none of those sites are even around to this day.
Yeah.
And
they don't exist anymore.
One was supposed to come back. It was called Cast MP3.
Okay.
And then it just kind of disappeared again. But nonetheless, so by the time I hit, this would have been, so this all started 2005. Okay. This is a very long time ago at this point.
So we can get a nice kind of idea of when that was.
By 2007, I had gotten like a drum kit, guitar, another keyboard.
Oh, drums too, okay.
Yeah. And so I would do multi-track recordings with Audacity.
Yeah.
And then I would kind of grow my skills with that. By the time 2009 came around, because I wasn't even singing at this point when I was recording.
It was just all musical instruments. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so by the time 2009 came around, I was like, all right, I want to sing. Like, this is what I want to do. And I actually did a straight-up acoustic record. So it was myself, my guitar, and that was it. It was about like 9 tracks, and I got it into the local corner store, and I was super excited because they never did that before, right? They sold DVDs, they rented DVDs, they sold major CDs, but they've never done anything independent.
And where was this?
This was Regina, Saskatchewan.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And again, like that's something crazy, right? Because we have a music scene back home, but when it comes to the community support, right, in terms of like the small businesses and kind of those partnerships, those didn't exist back then. But it was one of those things where luck kind of had it, and I think a lot of it too was I was annoying, and I showed up every day. I'm like, yo,
you were persistent, right? Yeah.
And it worked. Sold every copy I brought them, which was like 10, but it was enough kind of energy to guide me into the next phase. And kind of fast forward to 2013, I started doing like full production. By then I'd like kind of, I don't want to say mastered FL Studio, but I knew it enough that I could make really good quality music.
Yeah.
And I got my first single on Disney XM, which was December.
Wow.
And
when was this again? Sorry.
This would have been 2012, 2013.
Wow.
I don't remember the exact year.
Yeah.
But I know I went on tour 2013, 2014, and that was my first cross Canada tour, and it was a bunch of what are they called? Youth festivals, not youth festivals, youth conferences. And I did like 35 to 40 of them.
Wow.
And I was on stage pretty much every week across Canada.
That's a lot of singing.
It was great though.
Yeah.
An hour show.
Yeah.
And again, like that's where it really hit me. And I'm like, wow, this, because it's the reaction, right?
And so you're doing all your original music during those tours, or was it like combination
I didn't
of
have
covers?
Enough back then. It was more covers than it was originals.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you like to cover?
Anything pop.
Yeah.
I mean, I think back then it was like Justin Bieber, One Direction.
Yeah.
I think I did a couple Akon songs.
Oh, cool.
Or something
Yeah.
like that. I know I did like Beautiful, and I think I did We Don't Care.
Yeah.
And then I would sprinkle in like 2 or 3 original songs. So I would do like the album track, right? Like Out of This World, December, and I had another one that was called I Got You. So I would perform that as well.
Wow.
And fast forward to, gosh, it would have been, was it 2017? I released my second record, and things kind of started to take off again. Drag Me Down ended up doing incredibly well on the radio, and again, the bug bit me, and I wanted to get back on stage.
Yeah.
Got back on tour, and
so you went on tour again in 2017?
2017 into the end of 2018. There was some lapses in between, so I did like 6 or 7 shows within 2017, and then 2018. I think it was like a total of 9 months that I spent on tour.
Wow, that's a long time to be on tour. Wow.
And then our wonderful friend popped up out of nowhere and put a halt to all of it. But
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, so it sounds like you started from more of a production side of things, right? And so you had that interest in like music production, which is really, really cool. Because a lot of the time, like you don't hear that. You think of like, you know, how artists start out. And it's like, oh, they start out by singing and playing. But you kind of went the other route, which is like really cool. So you must have like a very kind of diverse knowledge in how to produce your own music, which is awesome,
I like to
right?
think so.
Yeah, that's
I like
awesome.
to think so.
And so like if you're kind of looking back on some of your musical inspirations back then, like who were you listening to that kind of inspired you then, like in your own producing work and when you were kind of like singing and playing, like when you first started out?
When I first started out, I mean, lyrically, melodically, it would be a lot of, again, Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
Those have always kind of been like the big one that I've always kind of listened to.
Cool.
But just whatever I would hear on the radio would kind of help inspire with the writing.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the sound that I was going for, I didn't have anything in mind, right? Like back then I didn't even label myself as a pop artist. I considered myself, I would say, more of like acoustic country.
Cool.
Kind of.
Okay, wow, yeah.
I wouldn't say on the likes of Johnny Cash.
Yeah.
But reminiscent of Johnny Cash.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. And like, have those musical influences like changed over time, would you say? Is there anyone now that you kind of think of where it's like, oh, I really like that person's voice, that style, or?
Yes and no. I think the sound has matured. I wouldn't say the influences have overly changed.
Yeah.
I would just say that it matured, and I've adapted with the times. You know,
Yeah.
I try to stick with what's current, so that, you know, you're not listening to something that would have came out 2 years ago, but 2 years too late.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, with time you discover more artists. So, you know, I've definitely pulled here and there different inspirations. Nothing that I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I guess for this record that I'm working on right now, I could say Dua Lipa with kind of that 80s kind of vibe. And The Weeknd with his 2 latest records, actually, with that, again, very 80s vibe.
Yeah.
Those have been 2 newer inspirations to me.
I love that vibe, right? They kind of have like some synths stuff going on there. You talked about synths earlier too, which is super cool. You have this. I was looking at your Instagram the other day because I was following through and just kind of listening to some of your music. And is it Runaway, the title of that one? I was like, oh, this is great.
Oh,
really, really cool. And you have that
it.
like 80s themed kind of background going on, or the video or the picture for it, and I was like, oh, this is really that's right up that alley. So that's
and I'm really
cool.
excited for that song.
Yeah.
That's one of those things where early on when I started working on this project, because I've been working on this pretty much since I finished the last one, and I wanted to do something different because I did a more hip hop kind of sound with the last record, and it didn't feel like it was me. The R&B parts felt like me, the pop parts felt like me, but the rest of it felt like almost like a commercialization attempt, right? And for this record, I wanted to do something that was me. And one of the things that I found early on is I was starting to gravitate toward those 80s synths, right? And like once I kind of got momentum and I heard like the instrumentals for like Runaway, and a couple more that I don't want to name drop, but I'll name drop one because it's also on the Instagram, Selfish, which has kind of more like a dance hall kind of vibe with that 80s mix. I was like, yeah, this is what I'm pushing toward.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, I mean, those sounds are kind of coming back now. Like you'll hear artists start to use those now again in the mainstream radio, and it's like, oh, it's really neat to kind of hear that like old 80s kind of like influence coming back in a way, but it's got like this modern twist to it too, so it's really interesting.
I heard someone say that The Weeknd sounds more 80s than the 80s ever did.
Yeah.
And it's kind of true.
It's kind of true, yeah.
Like, I don't know how he did it, but he created his own 80s, and it works, man.
And people are loving it too. That's really cool. It's an inspiration. Yeah. So I guess then, like, because I know you said you work on like lyrics and stuff too, and it's your own lyrics for your music. How do you like go about writing lyrics for your songs? Is it like does it take a really long time? Do you just kind of go for it? Like everyone's so different with their process, right? But I find it so interesting, right?
It depends on. Well, there's a bunch of things it depends on, but I mean, I'm very, very hypercritical, so that does create some longevity with the writing.
Yeah.
When I do start writing, usually I try to find a sound that inspires me. So I work with a lot of producers that I find on like BeatStars, YouTube. I have a few people that I've worked with for a very long time, like since the beginning. For this one, I wanted to do something new and start working with newer producers that I've never worked with before. And so the first thing is like, do I hear something to it, right? If I can see myself creating something to it, if I feel energized by it, and I can almost visualize the music video, the melody, right? That's kind of what kicks off the writing process for me. And then I get into, for me, I always tend to gravitate to the hook first, and I fill in the rest around it.
Cool.
Because the hook's the story, right? So once I've finished up my hook, I start over-criticizing myself on the verse, and what could take most people about a day or two ends up taking me 6 months. Like Drag Me Down that I mentioned earlier, I spent 6 months writing that track. The only thing I had that entire time was a demo of the chorus. And because I want to always kind of outdo myself, but also present my best self.
Yeah.
So
I totally get that vibe from you. Like you wanted to make sure it's perfect before kind of like putting it out there, right? Like, and that makes sense. Like I feel like a lot of artists like kind of have that thing where you're saying that they overthink a little bit about the lyrics. You know, it's very natural for anyone to kind of do that, but it's also interesting how you said the sound comes first and then you go into the writing.
Not a lot of people do it that way.
No. I think that's like a testament to your production coming first, right? Like you were producing music first and then moving on to like singing and vocalizing that. So that's really cool. Yeah, writing it's interesting because it's like everyone's process is so different, and that's why I find it really cool to hear different artists' opinions on it, and it's really interesting to like touch on where people started, where they came from, and it's a really great opportunity to talk to all these Canadian artists. So I'll just do a little plug here. If you're a Canadian artist and you want to support Canadian artists just like Chad here, make sure to get involved with Moksha Canada Foundation. And you can find us at Moksha Canada Foundation on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. And we should probably plug your Instagram too, since we're doing it.
Of course.
So where can people...
Mine's super easy.
Yeah.
At Chad Beloin.
There we go.
It.
And we'll have
Everywhere.
the little text on the screen there too. So that's perfect.
Somewhere around here.
Yeah. And now, can people listen to your music on Spotify as well?
Absolutely everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah. I've worked really hard on making sure that I'm available on every platform.
Yeah.
Spotify actually right now is like the main one that seems to be doing really well.
Yeah.
But absolutely everywhere. I think I'm even on TikTok.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll make sure to support Chad and follow him on his channels there. And so, like, how have you been found, like, before we get into what we'll be hearing today, and I'm really excited for that, how have you been finding the creative process of, like, making music as an artist in Canada during the pandemic? I mean, I want to touch on it a little bit, right? Because, like, there are some challenges to that, and it's why series like these are, like, so important to kind of talk about those challenges and bring them up, right? So
100%. I mean, to touch on series like this, actually, because that's a really good point. This is all we had during the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me personally, I was still in the middle of tour when the whole thing hit.
Yeah.
And I had to cancel all my shows, right? So, and right away, we didn't have things like this where we had the ones where you perform at home from your bedroom. And I was like, I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know why I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. But,
well, I know why. You're used to seeing people in person, getting
That's
that
true.
joy and experience from them. That's what you thrive off of as a performer. So it's harder to do that over a screen, right?
Well, I think it also felt weird wearing people clothes in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if it were me, I would have just done it in my PJs. I also had everybody home.
Yeah.
Right? So we have a full house.
Right.
And I didn't want to make the 2 years completely unbearable for them, having to hear me sing every single day. You know what I mean? So I think that was the driving force for not doing them too.
Mm.
But to go back to your question, it's funny because when it first hit, I was like, okay, this is probably going to be a couple of weeks. I can get a lot done. Day number 1 hit, I'll get to it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Day number 2 hit, get to it tomorrow. So one of the biggest challenges wasn't even like the writing barrier. It was the procrastination barrier, right? It was forcing myself to stop playing Warzone, to stop playing video games, and actually hunker down. And it took over a year till I really focused in and was like, okay, this is enough. I need to re-center myself on the priority here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where the new singles really came from, and the sound for this one really started to take shape. Because not even 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, the record I'm working on was completely different. None of these, maybe 2 of the songs that are going to be on the record are from the original batch.
Wow.
So I had to really, again, hunker down, reinvest not only myself, but the money into it again, and figure out what it is that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I still struggle with that because things aren't super duper back to normal. And I'm really good, I've found, at making excuses to not record. One of the biggest ones I had in the beginning, where I was like, oh, it doesn't matter if I put out new music, is I can't perform it, right? So again, just getting over that kind of mindset where, well, I can't show anybody in person, so what does it matter?
Yeah.
Right? Which I think was very selfish of me, and I do apologize to the people who've been waiting since 2017 for new music. That's on me, and I do apologize. Because the reality is, man, like this isn't just for me, right? You know, I've got, and I'm very blessed to say this, thousands of people
who listen in and
who are listening
in
every month, and they've been stuck listening to the same. Realistically, they're only listening to the same 2 or 3 songs, right, for several years. So, getting over that part would have been, I would say, the biggest struggle is moving past the procrastination, and just recentering myself and kind of clearing my mindset away from like that negative, oh, no one's going to see this.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like because of that, like something really positive has come out of it, and like a lot of things have changed in a positive way. Like
this is true.
You've created like greatness out of that in a way too, out of like reprioritizing like your goals and like what you want to focus on, which is like awesome, right? Which is what I think a lot of artists can like try and hope to do coming out of it now, hopefully, right? Hopefully we're, you know, on the process of coming out of it and whatnot. So it's interesting how like those lockdowns and all that time spent doing that has helped shape, you know, your new music. So let's talk about, that's a good time to like your new music and stuff. So like what are we going to be hearing today? What kind of stuff are we going to be listening to?
So today I got 3 tracks that I'm going to be performing. The first one is Drag Me Down. Sorry, I shouldn't say the first one. I'm going to mix up the order here.
Yeah.
But one of the originals, right, the one that everybody kind of gave me all the love for, I got to give it to them. I'm giving them Drag Me Down.
Mm-hmm.
But then I'm going to be doing, for the first time in a live performance, both Without You and What About Us, my two newest singles that are going to be on the new record later this year.
Awesome. So we're getting like a first listen to those here.
First
Exclusive.
listen. This is that exclusive. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it, man. That's so exciting. About the Drag Me Down one. So
Yes.
why don't we talk a little bit about like what that song means to you? Because it sounds
Of
like
course.
that song is like pretty popular and it's, gained some traction.
Drag Me Down is a song that I hold very close to my heart.
Mhm.
When I started writing it, it was one of those things where I think we've all been through toxic relationships and we don't see it in the time.
Yeah.
So I wanted to create something.
Yeah, definitely.
Of course. You're like, oh, wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Guilty. So it was one of those things where I wanted to vocalize that. I wanted to create something that when you leave that, you can listen to it and feel empowered,
Mhm.
right? So, and that's why I think I spent 6 months writing it, is I wanted it to really drive that message, drive that emotion, and help you feel powerful from leaving it.
Yeah.
So to me, I've had several instances in my life of trying to escape toxicity,
Mhm.
right? And even more so, admitting to myself that it's toxic, and that's really what
Which
the
is
whole,
hard enough to do, right? It's
very difficult.
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
it? The rose colored or rose lens glasses, as they call
yes,
it, right? And that's again, that's what it is, right? It's finding that power in yourself to admit to yourself that you deserve better,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And I feel that I did accomplish what I was looking to do with that track.
Mhm.
I wanted to, again, push that emotion. I don't want to get too technical with it, but I chose falsetto in the chorus because I wanted it to feel vulnerable,
Nice.
right? And
That's
I'm
a good
blessed.
reason to
I'm
choose
happy it worked out
falsetto.
that way.
That's really cool, and it's therapeutic in a way, right? Like not only as the artist, as the person kind of sharing their emotions, their feelings, and the reason as to like kind of why they're writing that, but also for the listener to like actually kind of experience that again. And it's like it's interesting because like I dived into a little research because I'm in music education, and so I dived into a little research about like how music and listening to certain kinds of music can help us process our emotions as we go along into like processing difficult situations like toxic relationships. So like it's super important to kind of have that stuff and like put that out there. So that's really cool. I love hearing about it. I'm super excited to listen to this stuff today. I think it's going to be great. Yeah. You heard it here first, folks. So make sure to support, your local Canadian artists. And, just like Chad here, make sure you follow all his socials and we support him, listen to his music. And I think this is a great next step here to go in and listen to your music, man. I'm really excited.
So. Thank you.
Let's do it.
Appreciate it. Let's do it. This is Without You. I'm staring at my phone late in the dark. I'm in too deep. I'm in too deep. Still waiting for a call from where you are. Just scared to sleep. It's killing me. I can't shake the thought of what you said. It's echoing inside my head. It's over now. This can't be over now. The image looking at your face, the moment that you left my place won't leave my mind. Let's hit rewind. What am I supposed to do if I don't have you, baby? My life won't be the same. What am I supposed to be if I don't have you, baby? Without you, I'm nothing. Don't wanna hear another busy tone ring from my phone. Can't get to you, won't let me through. What to do? I don't know what to do. Anxiety consuming me, this emptiness surrounding me. I need you here. I need you here. I can't shake the thought of what you said. It's echoing inside my head. It's over now. This can't be over now. image looking at your face, the moment that you left, my place won't leave my mind. Let's hit rewind.
What am I supposed to do if I don't have you, baby? My life won't be the same. What am I supposed to be if I don't have you, baby? Without you, I'm nothing. Don't wanna hear another car go down this street, unless it's you coming back to me. What am I supposed to do if I don't have you, baby? What am I supposed to be without you?
Can't shake the thought of what you said. It's echoing inside my head. It's over now. This can't be over now. The image looking at your face, the moment that you left, my place won't leave my mind. Let's hit rewind.
What am I supposed to do if I don't have you, baby? My life won't be the same. What am I supposed to be if I don't have you, baby? Without you, I'm nothing. Don't wanna hear another car go down this street, unless it's you coming back to me. What am I supposed to do if I don't have you, baby? What am I supposed to be without you?
Thank you. So this next one I'm gonna do for you guys is Drag Me Down. And I wanna say thank you guys for tuning in with Moksha Canada and your boy Chad Beloin. Check it out. You were something to me I'll never forget. The way that your words hit my heart that once was ice. You took my pain away with your words, babe. Now I'm drowning in this heartbreak, baby. Tell me, is this the way it's meant to be? You drag me down. You just drag me down. I used to think your love kept me alive. Now I know it's killing me inside, 'cause you just drag me down. You just drag me down. I feel so empty, babe. All love is gone. Your touching means nothing to me. I'm moving on. All the words you say when you look at me, the things we used to do, now they don't do a thing. I swear I want you gone. This love is coming past. We're just wasting our time, and I don't want you back. You drag me down. You just drag me down. I used to think your love kept me alive. Now I know it's killing me inside, 'cause you just drag me down. Yeah, you drag me down. You take all there is of me, and in spite of me, you throw it all away. You leave me in misery. Last one. You drag me down. You just drag me down. I used to think your love kept me alive. Now I know it's killing me inside, 'cause you just drag me down. Yeah, you drag me down. Thank you. So this next song I'm going to do for you guys is my brand new latest single. This is What About Us. I hope you guys enjoy it. And you're hearing it here first with Moksha Canada. Wait, let's both take a minute to breathe. We both said some things that we didn't mean. Why can't we step back and think about it? 'Cause I need you here, yeah, I need you here. What about us? Don't tell me that it's too late to fight. I'd do anything to make this right. I can't take another sleepless night. Yeah, tell me what about us? Please don't tell me that it's just too late. It doesn't have to be this way. Please listen to me when I say, don't leave me incomplete. Let's both take a step back to see everything that we would leave if you weren't here with me. No, why can't we stop this? Not listening, 'cause I need you here, yeah, I need you here. What about us? Don't tell me that it's too late to fight. I'd do anything to make this right. I can't take another sleepless night. Yeah, tell me what about us? Please don't tell me that it's just too late. It doesn't have to be this way. Please listen to me when I say, don't leave me incomplete. I know that I am stronger with you here. 'Cause with you I know that I belong. What about us? Don't tell me that it's too late to fight. What about us? Don't tell me that it's too late to fight. I'd do anything to make this right. I can't take another sleepless night. Yeah, tell me what about us? Please don't tell me that it's just too late. It doesn't have to be this way. Please listen to me when I say, don't leave me incomplete. Thank you.
Just gonna step in. All right. Thank you so much, Chad. I totally hear the Backstreet Boy influence. That was amazing. So good. Make sure that you support our boy Chad here over on Instagram and listen to him on Spotify. And if you're a Canadian artist yourself, please get involved at Moksha Canada on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, or MokshaCanadaFoundation.com. Make sure you get involved, support your local Canadian artists. And thank you so much for watching. I'll be your host every Sunday. Catch you in the next one.